Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast of Teatime with NAE, where I discuss all things educating, all things motivating, and all things inspiring. So let's get straight into this podcast because I do have a lot to share with you guys. And surprisingly, I have finally calmed down because 5 minutes ago, the podcast that I was currently recording all of a sudden everything just went away. Like, I lost everything. So 40 minutes of me talking has now just permanently been erased forever. So I'm back here re-recording this podcast, and I'm trying to be optimistic about it because I don't know how I'm supposed to be optimistic about this. Oh my lord. Okay, so for those of you guys who have listened to my previous podcast before, welcome back, and I hope that you guys are gonna be able to listen to this whole entire podcast, and I hope that it really does help you and that it encourages you, because that is my end game, to be honest. So I know that before, if you have seen some of my podcasts before, the first two were interviews and the other one was just me talking, and I do want to do more interviews. No, believe me, those aren't going to stop. However, I do want to do them a little bit differently. So hopefully with time, I'll be able to start posting more of my interviews over through my podcast in the nearby future. Those of you guys who are listening, if you're new and you do not know that I am a young entrepreneur and I have a website, please don't be shy. Check out my website. I just recently launched my self-love 24/7 collection. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on it so far and a lot of good reviews. I just want everything to just go smoothly and go well. And to be honest, it's officially been, not really. I was gonna say it's officially been 2 weeks, but I lied. It's officially been a week. There we go. It's officially been at least a week since I launched my self-love collection, and the amount of love and support that I've gotten so far is unbelievable. So thank you, ladies, so much for that. And I just want to shout out all of you ladies who have personally shouted me out and who have either personally DM'd me or messaged me, whether it's just to talk about the fact that they love what I'm doing about like this whole self-love, self-care game, or whether you actually ordered something from me and you love the products and they're really helping you out. I'm just so happy that all this has come to light, because it's taken me weeks and months to actually organize this whole entire self-love 24/7 collection. All my products are 100% natural and everything is 100% homemade. So I said homemade, handmade. So down from, my everything butters to my salts and my scrubs and my perfume oils, even to my notebooks, those things I make everything, even, the boxes that I do for the sample boxes, I make those. And then the boxes that I ship out for the lovely boxes, I buy those cutout boxes, but then I have to hand paint them myself and add all the extra pizzazz and good stuff to them. So it definitely takes a lot of, time and effort into it, but I will say it's definitely worth it. And I was actually talking to one of my friends. We were kind of just catching up, and she kind of mentioned like how my business was going, and I just told her, I was like, it's going good. I was like, but I feel like I'm taking a lot longer than normal to make everything and to package everything, because I do everything by order. So, she was like saying, people they're gonna want, quality, a lot more, than the other stuff. And, I took her word for it, and I was like, she's right. And that's kind of what I was going for anyways. I want, when people get my packages, like the moment they just see like the Hey Babe or Self Love Baby on the poly mailer bag, I want them to feel excited, and then the whole process of them opening everything up and, actually using the products, I want it to be a constant journey of, I love this self-care. I love my self-care game. I love the fact that I'm able to finally give myself the proper care and love that my body needs, and, so forth. So after I had done a few orders and I finally shipped out every last one of them, and then a couple of days later, I started seeing people post, of my simple boxes or maybe even the lovely boxes. And I just really, 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 I really loved it. And I enjoyed reading everything that people had to say about me. And, they were like, you can tell that, Nay really took her time in packaging this for me. I made it personal, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. And this is just the beginning, because I have so many things going, and like I've told a few people already, I do hope to be having a magazine out hopefully later on this year or at the start of next year. And I also have some upcoming merch, hoodies and sweaters, now that fall is going to be coming right around the corner. So, you got your cute, comfy, self-love sweaters and stuff. I have a lot of cute stuff for you ladies out there. And it took me a while to realize it, but this is what I want to do. And when I was thinking of, restarting my podcast, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, what is it that I want to do? And what is it that I'm going to say? Because it's been such a long time since I did a podcast. So what is the topic that I'm going to talk about for this podcast? And I was just sitting down and it just came to me. Water your mind like you water your plants. And I'll get into that a little bit later, but that is a quote that I actually, that came to my mind myself, and I posted it on my business Instagram account. And I was just thinking about it. I'm like, that's such a powerful phrase, and I think I underestimated it because now I think about it all the time. And if we really did water our minds like how we're supposed to take care of plants and to water plants and nurture them, maybe a lot of us would be in a lot more better situations and relationships, just overall. So I really do believe that self-care is very important, and this is just an FYI. If you don't care anything about self-care or self-love, I really strongly encourage you to try and start to really care, because at the end of the day, you can work your butt off, save all the money in the bank, but at the end of the day, none of that is going to save you if your mental health is not on point, if your physical health is not on point, and if your spiritual health is not on point. And that's why I stress about it so much. From young, like I struggled with anxiety, like nervous problems and overthinking, so many other things, starting at a younger age as I was, a young girl. And I've seen the impact that self-care has made on me, and it's just doing self-care, especially certain things in the morning, they really motivate me and inspire me, to really just seize the day and to do my best and to do the greatest and just to take life as it comes and learn lessons as I go. And that's probably one of the reasons why actually, like, I'm not even upset anymore that my whole 40-minute podcast just got deleted and lost. And I kid you not, like, I don't know why I keep laughing about it. I don't know. It's just, I take life differently, and I'm just trying to experience life as it comes. And even with the bad things or things that, might make me nervous, might make me shaky a little bit, I'm just trying to give it my all and keep God a priority and stay prayed up and to really just hope for the best. That's really all you can do as an entrepreneur. And this is just a shout out for all of you ladies out there who are owning your own game, owning your own business, owning your own podcast, owning your own YouTube channel. And the list goes on, because, we see people like, oh, hey guys, I just started a podcast, or, oh, hey guys, check out my new YouTube channel. We see that, but we're not seeing what people are actually going through and how much they had to do to get that far. For me, doing YouTube has not been easy. Getting in front of a camera is, editing my videos, yeah, but trying to gain subscribers and followers and, interactions and stuff like that, I feel like it's slowed down. Technically, kind of speaking, it's my fault because I haven't been that consistent, but still, it could be like these small things that people consider to be, quote unquote small, not that big of a deal, but it's a big deal to a lot of us. And my podcast is one of those things. And when I jumped right into it, it's like, I don't know how I'm going to gain, listeners, because at the end of the day, at least my videos had visual aspects in them that made certain things, whether it's like me and my sisters acting all goofy or me doing a hair tutorial, whatever it is, interesting to watch, to say the least. But when it comes to words, if people aren't really used to just sitting down or driving or whatever it is that you're doing while you're listening to podcasts, if you're not used to doing that, I kind of was thinking, like, I don't want to waste my time, creating podcasts that only 30 people are going to listen to. But at the end of the day, if I can at least affect just 30 people, get my point across, actually start affecting lives, I'm probably, and I most likely will get somewhere big in the future. And so that's what's really, honestly, not stopping me from doing that now. And, even though I know that I've been on a break from this podcast and I'm back now and hopefully here to stay, I'm just praying to God that, all of the inspiration that I have to share with people, all the motivation that I have to share with people, it's not some kind of fake cliche like, hey guys, I'm here to talk to you guys about self-care, so blah, blah. No, your girl's gonna get down, gonna get dirty, and gonna get real, because I'm not here to sugarcoat anything, and I'm not here to act like I'm perfect or like I know what I'm talking about all the time. But I am here to say this, that as a person who has struggled with severe mental illnesses and mental problems alone, I am here to shed the light on so many things, and hopefully in the future I'll be having other people talk about, certain things as well, because these things need to be heard. And as women, especially Black women or women of color, a lot of the times our mental health is not put at first. And I will actually share with you guys an experience that I had, to where I'm pretty sure I was having a prolonged anxiety attack or a panic attack. And to be honest, still to this day, I'm trying to get used to the different terms of the different kinds of attacks that I might be having or that I might not be having. And I was having, like, my breathing, it just felt like I was just really weak, shaking. Sometimes if I get super nervous and I start getting very anxious, my hands start shaking and I can't even open like a regular bottle of water, and it was really scary. So I was like, I'm just gonna go to the doctor, I'm gonna go to the urgent care and hopefully get checked out. And they took my pulse, and my pulse was very high. It was above 100 actually. And it was very scary because I'm like, I don't know what's going on with me. None of this, this stuff has never happened to me before. Am I really putting too much on myself? Like, I don't know what triggered it. It's one thing to be like, okay, well, I've been doing this or this happened, so that's probably what triggered it. But when you do so much and you do a lot, it's hard to really pinpoint, okay, that is probably what caused it. And I couldn't figure out why. So I got scared and I thought, maybe this is a serious health problem. And I went to the doctors and they kind of just dismissed me because I said, well, I struggle with severe anxiety. And so then she looked at me and she's like, okay, well, you're gonna, set up an appointment with the psychiatrist and, she'll help you on from there. And that was it. So I didn't even really honestly get checked up at the end of the day. And I don't know why I walked out of there. I should have fought and been like, well, can you please just examine me anyways? But I don't know. It's just, I guess I wasn't in that mindset at the time. And it's hard, especially when you have anxiety. When you go into the doctor, I was like, what are you here for? And he's like, a checkup. A checkup for what? And you look at them, you're like, it's just a regular checkup. So when it comes to mental health and mental illnesses, it could be anything on the range of like, you could have acute eating disorders, from other mental illnesses that are causing you to, have a lack of appetite or have a lack of, this or to do this instead. And, the list goes on and on. And, I don't think people realize that if you don't try and get help from the first mental illness that you might come across, it could just get worse from there. And you could actually end up having to deal with a whole lot more. So that's why I'm just sharing this for anyone who is going through anything similar to what I just mentioned. Just know that you are definitely not alone. And I hope to be shedding more light on this. But I do want to talk and emphasize a lot more about self-love, self-care, and keeping yourself a priority. So let's get straight into that because I do have a couple of things to say on that matter. First and foremost, I strongly believe that self-care is like an underdog, kind of. people don't really think that it has such a strong impact, or that it can be so powerful and, rise above. And I feel like the more I start to pound it into people's ears, the more that they're going to believe me, because everything that I talk about on my podcast is something that I have experienced. And I used to be a workaholic, and to be honest, if I'm being honest, I still am. And I feel like I always will be. And that's just, I don't know, it's just how I've always been. I always have to be working. I always have to be putting a positive foot forward. I always have to be seeing progress. And I want to be a couple steps ahead, not a couple steps behind. And the list goes on. So just dealing with that already, starting at a young age, I kind of had the dumb mindset of, if I'm not working, then I'm wasting my life, basically, is what my mindset was. And at that time, I was like, you know what? It's logical and it makes sense to me, because why are you sitting on the couch watching TV, or, why are you wasting time doing that or doing this when you could be working? And that was kind of just my mindset the whole entire time. And for years, I thought like that. And I put myself in a cage, just mentally just thinking that I had to be working, and I didn't want to waste my life, or, go to bed that night thinking that I could have done more, but I didn't. And I struggled with so much, and I just want everyone to realize that the minute I start putting self-care into my daily routines, that's when things started getting better. And you can be busy, you can be a boss, you can, seize the day while still taking time out for yourself. Yes, there are times when you're just busy, you're out since early morning, running errands, doing this, helping with this, supporting someone for this. I do understand that. But also, you cannot do any of that, like I've mentioned before, if you are not putting your body, your mind, and your soul first as a priority. Because it's going to come to the time when you're trying to do something, or you want to do something, and you can't. And I think that also happened with me when I had some kind of anxiety attack not too long ago. And it got to the point where I literally felt like I just couldn't do anything. And even though it was a scary experience, at the end of the day, I'm like, God, I don't know what's going on, but I do realize now that I did need this day, because I do so much and I constantly feel like I have to be working, and I have so much stuff to do that I'm not putting myself first. And whether that could be not eating right or not eating enough, not taking care of my body, making sure that I have the right nutrition, the right supplements, the list goes on. And so you kind of don't want to wait until you have some kind of a problem before you're like, okay, this work problem, or, I have to, give my body the love and the care that it needs. You don't want to have to wait for a serious situation like that to come up before you realize, like, oh, I should have been taking care of my body before. Taking care of your body, yes, that is eating healthy. Yes, that is staying hydrated. Yes, that is, being active, and whether it's playing sports or biking or running or walking, yes, that is part of self-care and, self-love and body love. But there is also a point and a time where women need to be like, okay, I deserve to treat myself. So that's also what kind of triggered my self-love collection, because I based it off of my emotions, my personality, my thought process. So that's why I made things like candles. Candles really help with, calming my atmosphere, really making me feel at peace, making me feel focused. That's why I made bath salts, because again, certain scents and aromas can really help fill a room or fill an atmosphere that helps us feel more calm, that helps us embrace our femininity, and we can really just step into the zone where we're like, okay, let's get on this grind. But it also makes us like aware of like, yes, I need to take time out for myself. I need to relax. I need to stop overthinking sometimes and doubting myself. Self-love isn't just a physical thing where I talk about, like taking nice baths for yourself, treat yourself to some takeout once in a while, things like that. It's more also talking about the mental side, where self-love says stop ignoring these thoughts that are coming up into your head and into your mind? Why are you putting off what is so important for you? That is not okay. Stop putting off the thoughts that might come into your head where it says, I'm tired, or I'm exhausted, or I'm feeling lonely, or I'm depressed, or I'm angry, or I'm frustrated. Why are we putting off these feelings? Why are we putting off these mindsets that we're having? We need to tackle these head on. And speaking from experience, there have been times when I just constantly, I'm aware that I'm overdoing it. I'm aware that I'm overworking. I'm aware that I'm putting on too much, and yet and still I do it anyways. And there's been a ton of research, there's been a ton of talk about how women, especially women of color, were constantly, put in cages about this idea that we have to ignore these thoughts and ignore our feelings to be perceived as strong and, to be fierce and to be unstoppable. But the reality of it all is that us ignoring these feelings and these emotions that are inside of us, that's only a weakness, and that's only going to cause us to fall and to fumble. I think it's very important that we take mental health seriously, and like I've said before, this is something that is definitely going to be raging on my podcast more than ever now. So if you're all about that entrepreneur life, yes, this podcast is for that. If you're all about women empowerment and females just all together, then yes, this podcast is for that. If you are about celebrating Black culture and especially Black women, this podcast is for that. And lastly, but not least, if you are all about mental health awareness and figuring out what you have to do just to stay sane and, to focus on your body and self-love, then this podcast is for that. And this podcast is for you. So I really just wanted to shed light on that, because if I've ever found or looked for podcasts, really, I've always looked for podcasts that had to do with finances or business or, jobs or women or whatever. And I've never really listened to a podcast yet that really focuses on everything that I mentioned, especially being in First Church and especially being religious and everything that comes with it, constantly mentioning God and keeping God as your priority. That's not a cliche. That's not me trying to gain more followers. That's not me trying to act like some kind of hashtag church girl, hashtag church life. That is not it whatsoever. Sis is really about that life. And if you are able to relate to what I'm saying, and especially be able to relate to how life is as this type of person, especially being a woman, then this podcast is for you, because I am not going to get off track talking about this too much, but just overall, and this is not up for debate. I do not care what any of the brothers say, but this is not up for debate. Women in First Church have it worse. I don't care. We have it worse. It's just, men are never going to understand this, but the feeling of let's just talk about the skirts for one thing. Just that feeling of constantly having to walk out every day with my head covered and wearing skirts. So if I'm planning a day out with my girls to go skating or to go biking, or we want to do some kind of nice activity, there's only so many things that we can do without feeling like we're being hindered. And the same thing goes for I was even talking to my other friend Vicky, and I was online, I was on the phone with her actually. We were looking for something more appropriate for her to wear when she goes swimming, when she's going to go on her trip for the summer. And I'm like, this is just, it's not fair. The boys have it so easy. So easy. It's 10 times harder for us women to actually, be able to find clothes and to be able to find this and to be able to do that. And so I feel like that alone, that can already pressure women into feeling burdened. And I'm actually happy that I brought that up now, because it's actually a good point. And to be honest, I felt that exact same way when I first started actually living like a holiness person. I've been in holiness for years, and I listen to PJ with my family all the time, but it wasn't until a certain point and a certain age where my parents were like, okay, that's it. You're going to stop wearing pants. Like, period. No more pants, Nay. And I just, like, I wasn't with it. I couldn't understand why I couldn't wear pants that said women's pants or, girls' pants. And I had to kind of just get over it and have the mindset like, okay, even if I don't understand this now at a younger age, I'd still rather be safer than sorry. And I'm pretty sure that skirts are not bad, so therefore I'm going to wear skirts and just live with it. And I kind of just had to roll from there. But I didn't really have the support and the encouragement that I needed during that transition. And just like any transition, you need a support system. You need motivation and you need encouragement and you need inspiration. And I didn't have that. And I know that a lot of girls out there, especially in First Church, are probably going through that as well. And if there is anybody who is new to First Church and that is listening to this podcast, welcome. And I hope that you stick around, because I do want to make it clear that it is very hard to find people and to find friends and to actually make a family in church. And no, this is not me throwing shade. This is not, me talking about things that I have no idea what I'm talking about. I do, because as I said before, I talk about things that I've related with and that I've dealt with in the past. And this is one of those things. And I'm talking about this because as a woman, it's very important to have a good support system. I don't care if that's just 1 or 2 friends or 3 friends just to start off with. You need to have some kind of support system, because at the end of the day, even if you feel like people aren't always there for you, I guarantee you there's got to be somebody who is praying for you. There's got to be somebody who is like, I wonder how so-and-so is doing today. There's always something. And I've even had moments where I feel the urge to just randomly check up on someone, and we may or may not be that close, but at the end of the day, I just have that urge, that feeling to just be like, I wonder how they're doing. I wonder, what's going on in their life. I wonder if they're okay. And the list goes on. So I think it's very important to, even if it makes you uncomfortable at first, I think it's very important to step out of your comfort zone and to really, really, really try your best to really reach out to people. And this is something that I also prayed about as well, because first joining First Church, I prayed to God. I was like, Lord, you know me. I was like, that the people that I'm friends with here in school, they're really not my friends. And once graduation happens, I'm not going to be talking to them anymore at all, ever again. So I got to the point where I was like, my prayers started changing, and I started praying to God, asking him for, friends, a new family, people who I could actually talk to and support, and that they could depend on me and I could depend on them. And through time, I actually got what I was praying for. So if you feel alone and you feel like, especially at this present day and at this present moment, where you feel like you're not supported, you don't feel that right system of support and love, number one, you need to be your number one biggest supporter. That's first on my list. And I say it all the time, and I say this because even with your support systems, there's always gonna be times when you feel like there's nobody there. There's always gonna be times when you have more moments where you're feeling lonely and you're feeling possibly depressed and just alone. And you really just have to put your big shoes on and just be like, no, I'm gonna put a good couple of steps forward and take this leap of faith, or, try and encourage myself and try and keep my mindset positive and get rid of all the negative thoughts. Because if we dwell in this negative, this lurky, dark place, it's hard to get out of. I've dealt with it numerous times, and especially earlier on when it started happening to me and I started getting depressed and having these really dark moments, it was hard for me to get out of them, because all I was thinking about was just everything. Just thinking about, where am I gonna be in life? What's happening to me now? Spiritual goals, mental goals, physical goals, just everything just burdening me down, making me feel heavy. I'm here thinking about past goals and lists that I've made and plans that I've made that haven't come to pass yet. And I'm here thinking about, what if I'm a failure? What if, everything was a waste of time? And if you just keep giving in to all of the what ifs, you're not going to get anywhere. And this is what points me to the topic of watering your mind like how you water your plants. So, like my girl Mulan has said, I have to do something. And it really sticks out because even though it's not some kind of like deep fable or, deep mind boggling saying or quote, it's literally something that's so simple, but yet it means so much. And when I say water your mind like you water your plants, you have to do something about your life. You have to do something about the choices that you make, the people that you keep company with, the job that you have, or the jobs that you want to be able to have in the future. The list goes on. People want to wonder why they're stuck in a dark place, why they feel like there's no growth, that they're not going anywhere in this world. And you have to really take a step back and examine your mind, examine your body, examine your whole entire thought process, and examine your life. And it gets to the point where you have to say, okay, it's the people that I'm hanging around, it's the relationships that I have that could be potentially toxic, that are dragging me down a deep dark hole, and there's no way of being able to recover from that. And there's so many people out there who are going through so many things that are so much worse. And trust me, like I want to be here for you, and I want to be able to understand with what you're going through, whatever that might be. But at the end of the day, we really cannot. We can be there for people, yes, but to be actually able to understand what somebody is going through, whether that's a tragic death or, extreme poverty or a severe health issue, life-threatening disease, you can sit back and you can watch from afar, but you never really understand what somebody's going through unless you actually you're actually going through it with them, or going through it like how they're going through it. So, when we talk about plants, it's pretty simple. And to be honest, I've mentioned it before, I often think of myself as a succulent. That's what I want to be. That's what I try to achieve and, be able to accomplish in my life, is being a succulent. Because especially like, cactus and, your whole other cute succulent plants, some of them actually can thrive in very, very dry, dark environments. While there's no light, there's no sun, not a lot of water, truth be told, not a lot of support, and they grow regardless. And that's exactly how I want to be. But as a plant, if we are, I know there's probably a lot of plant mothers out there, but if we're talking about plants, just in general, plants need water, plants need sun. And if we realize that our plants are becoming weak, most of the time, we're supposed to do something about it. So if our plant maybe is like wilting, you'll put in one of those cute sticks, tie a cute little string around it, and hopefully it'll start growing like right up again, the good way, and if our plant seems to be wilting or dying, that could be it's not getting enough sun, or if it's not getting enough water, the list goes on. Or it could be actually the other way around, too much sun or too much water, and we have to really think about it just like how we think about our lives. We're here thinking like, I feel weak, I feel depressed, I feel upset, I feel angry, I feel frustrated, I feel alone, I feel lonely. And the list for so many of us, it can be, so many other things that I didn't mention. And it gets to a point where we have to think of ourselves like a plant, and we're like, well, what am I doing? Where am I putting myself to why I'm feeling this way? Why do I feel like I'm being malnourished like a plant? Why do I feel like I'm wilting? Why do I feel weak? Why do I feel like I'm dying? Theoretically speaking. And that's, I believe, is the environment that you put yourself in. It's very important for someone's mental health, for someone's success, that they hang around the right people and that they start letting go of people and relationships that are hindering them. And I'm actually remembering now one of the videos I did months ago, last year actually, when I talked about the snip snip method. And I was basically talking about toxic relationships, when you have to finally cut those people off. And it gets to the point where that's exactly what you have to do. And I remember the whole, trend. And I kind of really want to say the trend, because there was a certain time when, on Snapchat and, maybe Instagram, where, like, literally everybody was putting, time to start cutting people off, or, this, that, and third, or whatever. And it's kind of people like me who see these posts, and then I'm kind of like, in my head, I'm like, but are you really though? Because we say that about so many people, and we say that about so many things, and then when it comes to actually thinking that we have the strength to do it, we find out that we don't. And it's very important to be able to channel that strength from whatever it is, whatever you need to channel that strength from. Channel it some way, somehow, sis, so that you can move on from toxicity altogether. Because it's not a game, and it's nothing to be, playing around with. This is your life that you're talking about. This is your mental health that you're talking about. And to just allow people to, like, literally try and diminish your dreams, try and down talk you, and treat you like you're crap, like you're trash, like you're nothing. It's unacceptable, and you need to put your foot down and say this is enough. So if you're putting yourself in situations and environments where, it's literally, it's not good for you, it's not good for your health, it's not good for your life, why are you doing it? Really, I'm literally asking you a question. Why are you doing it? And I've had to ask me. I had to ask myself that question so many times. It was either, why am I doing this to myself? Like, why am I doing this? Or it was also, why am I not doing this? And when it comes to the latter half, why am I not doing this? I want to talk about the green light. Because, I just want to make people aware that it's not always easy taking a risk or taking a jump or a leap of faith. It's not. That's why it's called a leap of faith. But it's very important. And once you do it, you are going to be doing some very, very great things, my dear, because I did the same exact thing. I planned my business, for example, and I was planning things and had business plans and, product plans and, everything else that I wanted to do. And I was going through some old notebooks and some old journals, and I realized that for literally like a whole entire year, I just kept writing things down, and that's all I was doing. Writing stuff down is good. It's very important, to say the least, but if you don't start putting actions on your words, you're not going to get anywhere. And so it got to the point where I was like, I'm acting like I'm in a car and I'm at a red light and I'm waiting for it to turn green, or I'm standing in front of a door and I'm waiting for someone to give me the key when the key is already in my hand to begin with. Kind of really just have to jump in, sis, and just be like, you know what? I'm just going to take this jump. I believe in myself, even if others don't, and just kind of go with the flow from there. And oh my gosh, when I said that, I literally just thought of Pocahontas. I'm not trying to reference all of these, like, quote unquote Disney princesses, because they're really, not all of them are princesses. They are bosses, okay? I don't care how old I get. I will always, 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 especially when it comes to Mulan, so many things that I just see in that movie, I see in that character itself, that just motivates me. And that's why I reference so much to her. That's why I love her altogether. And if you guys follow me on social media, there are times when I'll post about it and, make jokes about it, or sometimes might post quotes or whatever. My graduation cap actually had a quote from Mulan on it for when I graduated college. Like, there's just so many things. We all have that certain thing in our life that, whether it could be a movie or a show or a podcast or, cartoon characters that we grew up watching, or listening to that had a special impact on us. And Mulan is one of those things. And I don't mean to get off track here, but what I was saying before was all of a sudden when I said go with the flow, I thought about Pocahontas. And the reason why I said that is because if you guys have ever watched that movie and she's singing Just Around the River Bend, to be honest, yes, girl, what is around the river bend? You don't know if you never get up and try. And that's basically what I'm trying to say. Yes, are you going to take the smooth, slow, gentle, no risky path? Or are you going to take the path that is less followed by? The path that not a lot of people are sure about? The path that you are even sometimes a little shaky on taking, but at the end of the road, it's just so much better from there. And, I've seen so many illustrations or so many posts where it's like someone is digging and they're so close to being able to get what they've been digging for, but before they get to it, they stop and they quit. And I don't want to be that kind of person. I don't want you guys to be that, or you ladies to be that type of person either. I want us all to be able to know that we have the strength to be able to succeed in whatever we put our minds to. And this is not just talking about business wise. This could literally just be talking about you yourself. If you have goals and dreams that you want to see in yourself, like especially when it comes to mental and spiritual strength, and even if it's more physical, like I want to be healthier, I want to live healthier, I want to be healthier and be better and be happier. You never know what's right around the river bend. I feel so funny saying that, but literally it is so true. You never know what's around the river bend that you're about to miss out on if you don't take those couple of steps, if you don't just allow yourself to be caught up in the flow of life and just taking and experiencing things as they come. You'll never know if you never try. And that's the point, because I've dealt with a lot of doubt in my life. I've dealt with people saying that I can't do this or that I shouldn't have done this. And it's constant. It gets to the point where now it's like I'm not even trying to prove you wrong. I'm trying to prove myself right, and I'm trying to just stay on the grind. That's basically what I'm going to be doing, because you wasting your time talking to me about how I'm either making bad decisions or making bad choices or risky choices, it's not, like, literally, it's not gonna hinder me anymore. It gets to the point where some people might still be affected by that, which I hope that things get better for you in that aspect of where you can, support yourself and give yourself that strength that you need to really just press forward. But then there are some of us who have gone through that so many times where it's literally just as normal as someone saying good morning, and it's sad to say that, the least, but it's true. Okay, we have been surrounded by so many negative, doubtful, scared people for like our entire lives that when we hear people down talking, it doesn't faze us anymore. It doesn't, affect us anymore. It doesn't frustrate us anymore. We're kind of just unbothered. We're like, okay, sure, okay, you do you, sis. Or you do you, bro. And I'm gonna do me. And that's all that you have to really say about the matter. So yes. Do you, because you have to put your priorities first, okay? And that comes with everything: self-love, self-care, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, everything. And that's why I say you have to sometimes move your pot. And some of you guys like, Naomi, like, what are you talking about? Move my pot. Well, if you think of yourself like a plant, a cute little succulent, any plant that you want to be, and you realize that you're not growing, that you're hurting, that you're weak or you're getting weak instead of being stronger, you have to move your pot into a better place. Into a place where you can find strength, into a place where you can find healing, into a place where you can find recovery. You have to move yourself into a place where you find light, where you're not in darkness anymore. Find a place and move yourself into a surrounding where you're not constantly comparing yourself to others. Stop growing around all these other flowers that are growing at different rates than you. Why are you comparing yourself? Why are you comparing your success? Why are you comparing your growth? Why are you comparing your progress to everyone else around you? Go and compete against yourself. Go and grow to be better, to be a better you, to be a better and to see and to have and to live a better life. That's what you should be doing. Instead, we're here wasting our time and our energy and our breath off of what everybody else is doing. And to be honest, there's so many great people out there already who are doing so much. And we have that that skip of the heart kind of nervous feeling when we see people, conquering and seizing the day, and we're like, oh my gosh, they're doing that now, they started another business, or they started a podcast, or they started a YouTube channel, or they're selling clothes, or they're doing this, or they're doing that. And it's like, why are you getting scared for? Why are you worried for yourself? You should be worried for yourself on what you can hold yourself accountable for, not on what people are doing for themselves, or what progress that they're committing to themselves for their life. You have to focus on yourself. And I've struggled with this. I'll be honest. I have struggled with this, especially when I was younger. And I was definitely in high school. And that's when I started going on Instagram. And I finally made my Instagram account. I was probably in 10th grade. And I was really stuck on trying to share with everyone my art. That was always the main thing. It's whenever I post my art, I want to get a lot of likes. I want to get a lot of comments, and to be honest, especially for someone starting out, especially who was not even half as, the girl boss that she is today, you have to really set your priorities in order. And me being on social media, seeing so many other artists successful and quote unquote popular with lots of followers and, comments and, hopefully a lot of business, it can tend to fuel some kind of doubt, maybe. So if you are a person, let's say you make beauty products or you make clothes or whatever it is, and then you see other people that you know or that you don't know doing the same exact thing, it can be, a little frustrating at times, I'll admit, because you kind of have to just tell yourself that what I'm doing and what they're doing are two totally different things. And if you keep that mindset and that mentality, you're going to be fine. Because at the end of the day, whether it's a certain craft that you're doing or whether it's music, if you sing and then somebody else sings too, and for some reason they get more views than you do on a certain video, or whatever the case is, why are you stressing? Do you. And let everything else that's supposed to come to you naturally and when it's time. And I'm taking this advice that I just said for myself, because there are so many times when I just get doubtful again and again and again. But again, I have that strength to where I know that all I have to do is just be like, Naomi, it's okay. Chill, relax. You're unique. There's so many times, so many things that you've done for people. So many, so much inspiration that you've already given to people. And why are you wasting your breath and wasting your thoughts and your time stressing just because someone might be doing something similar to you, or someone, might seem to be more successful than you? And that's why I said it in that way. It's not to be shady. It's literally meant to be real, that someone can seem to be something that they're not. And that's why I often stress the importance of not being so into social media, because yes, it's very important, especially for a lot of us business people and entrepreneurs. But at the end of the day, social media can be a dirty game. It can be very harmful for your mental health. And that's another reason why I've had to sometimes take breaks off of it. Not because necessarily people are being rude or aggressive towards me. It's just simply because you'll see so many things and it kind of makes you feel a type of way. And I don't like that feeling of, not progressing the way I should be, because I'm too busy literally looking at what other people are doing. You have to have that strength to where it's oh my gosh, good for them or good for her. I'm so happy for them to be doing this or that, and move on. Learn and work to be unbothered. And I'm saying this because so many of us want to be stressing about worrying about what everybody else is doing. Why don't you just worry about yourself? Leave it to God, honey, and just do you. Take the day to give yourself the proper care and the rest that you need. Take time to take a shower. Take time, to give yourself a manicure, a pedicure, foot soak, moisturize your body. Like, there's so many things that you could be doing for self-care. Get takeout, listen to a podcast, listen to music, spend time with friends, light some candles, meditate, rest, watch a movie, eat healthy food, work out. Literally, there's so many things coming to my mind right now that, are part of self-care and self-love altogether. And one thing that I do want to stress before I get out of your guys' way is that, yes, self-care is important, self-love is important, but if you do not have the mentality that you are beautiful, that you can accomplish whatever you put your mind to, that you are going to be successful in life, that you are unique, that you are important, that you bring something unique and very, 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 very... I literally just forgot what I was going to say because I said all those varies. But you bring something big to the table of this world. If you can't recognize that, if you can't recognize your strengths, and most importantly, if you cannot recognize your weaknesses, you can try and do all the things that you want to do, but you're never going to level up because you have to be able to jump over hurdles. But if there are hurdles in your way and in your path that you just don't want to accept and that you just don't want to be able to recognize and admit that you see them and that you know that they're there, you're just going to stumble even more. So whatever hurdles that you're going through, whatever hurdles that you've been ignoring and trying to walk around for the past few days, the past few weeks, the past few months, please, please, please stop ignoring them. Look them straight in the face, in the eyes, whatever they might be, and when you're ready, jump. And have faith altogether and believe that you can do this, that it's something that you can definitely achieve. It's something that you're born to do, and just do it. As we come to the closing of this podcast, I just want to say that I hope that there was something said in here that really moved you, that really encouraged you or inspired you or motivated you. I will be doing podcasts, or at least trying to do podcasts every week or every 2 weeks. And like I said before, self-care is no joke. It is very important. And I'm hoping that through my podcast, as I continue to be more consistent with it, that I will gain a lot more listeners for the sole purpose of being able to reach more people about self-love, mental health awarenesses, entrepreneurs, and just Black culture and women in general. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this podcast, if you have not checked out my website yet or my Self-Love 24/7 collection, the link will be in the description box below for any of you ladies who want to check that out. Like I said before, I have gotten raving reviews so far, and I'm just so happy. Like, I'm so happy and I'm so content right now. And I have upcoming merch. If I haven't, I don't know if I mentioned it or not yet, but I do have upcoming merch for all you ladies. Hopefully magazine and some clothes and some stuff like that. So I'm very, 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 I'm really hoping that all of this is going to work together for my good. And I'm hoping that if there's anybody who's listening who is in the midst of taking a jump into the business, into the entrepreneur life, you go, girl. I hope and I pray that everything works out for you, and that, even if things don't happen the way that you want them to at first, I really do hope that things get better for you. And for those of you guys who are listening who are already girl bosses and who are already entrepreneurs, and you guys have businesses, or you guys have some kind of blog or YouTube channel or podcast or whatever it is that you are doing and that you love to do. I really hope that you continue to do it and keep changing lives as I try to change as many lives as I can, and kind of just go with the flow. Like I said before, be like Mulan and say, I have to do something. Don't wait around for the green light, because the green light is already there. Stop acting like you don't see it. Just go ahead and stop ignoring the hurdles. Jump right into it with faith and believe in yourself and believe in your talents and believe in the goals and the dreams that you've set for yourself. And as I would normally say at the beginning of my Tea Time podcast, I would normally ask, what type of tea are you sipping on? But to be honest, I'm not drinking tea. It's too hot for that today. I'm drinking water. But I would highly suggest some chamomile tea. If you have not tried that yet, go ahead and do so. It smells incredible. Oh my lord, it smells so incredible. So please give that tea a try, and I will be seeing you guys, or you guys will be hearing from me in my next podcast. And look out for merch, hint, 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 wink, 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 from my podcast as well, because like I said before, when I finally find my soul fire and I find what I meant to do and what I feel so strong about, I'm gonna be doing it. And even if I'm only talking to 10, 20, 30 people, that's perfectly fine with me. If I can just change just one life, I feel like I've accomplished something. Of course, I want definitely a lot more than that, but if I can at least just talk and at least have someone, just one person, just listen to what I have to say and allow my words to be able to encourage them and motivate them and just really just inspire them all together. And I constantly keep trying to live up to my name, which people have said that I live up to my name, INSPIRATIONALNAE. And I'm so happy that they are aware of that and that they reach out to me to let me know, because I know that many of us might doubt ourselves at times with feeling like, does anybody really even notice me? Does anybody hear what I have to say? Does anybody see what I'm bringing to the table? And so many questions about, where our support systems are and who's really for us and who's really against us. But all that will come in time, and all that will come to the light in the nearby future. So I just really want to encourage all you ladies out there who have given my podcast a listen, and I'm happy to be back into the podcast game because it's been a minute, and it's so refreshing and so rewarding, because I've had this crave of being able to record my podcast for some time now, but with my mic not working and so many other problems that I've been dealing with lately, and then also just being busy with my collections and my business and my website, it's just I never really had the opportunity. So now that I kind of put some things aside to be able to do this again, I'm so happy. I got a brand new mic, got some new equipment that I'm so excited. I can't wait to start sharing more music videos and all that other stuff that I used to do before crap went down. And I'm also very happy that I was able to do this podcast because, like I mentioned before in the beginning of this video, I'm here talking like I'm on YouTube. In the beginning of this podcast, I did mention that I did lose my entire podcast previously before I started remaking it with this podcast. So I'm really hoping that you guys take heed to what I say and that you guys, meditate on it a little bit. Some of the things that I said that could really help you, especially if you are having problems with mental health or or self-image, not having your self-game or your self-care love game up to par, and the like. And I'm really here to just really kind of just keep throwing it in your guys' faces. Self-love. Don't forget the self-care. I kid you not, I'm not playing around here. I'm here to stay, and I say that because a lot of us might try to do something ambitious, and if it doesn't work out, we sometimes quit or sometimes feel like we can't go on for certain reasons, and I don't want to be that person. So me saying that I'm here to stay is kind of like a self-affirmation to myself, saying, Naomi, even if it's slow at first, or even if things don't go exactly the way you want them to, just keep going with the girl, because you got this. And I want that to be the message for all of you ladies out there. Keep being great, keep being beautiful, And try to support queens, okay? If our crowns are looking a little crooked, looking like it's about to slide off, help a queen, help a sis out. You know what I'm saying? And I cannot wait to share with you guys my my next podcast that is going to be fully focused on self-love. So I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, whether you're listening to this in the morning or at night or in the afternoon or whatever. Have a good day. Keep being your number one supporter. And if there's anything that you got from this message, please, please, please water your mind like you water your plants. That's all I have to say. So, with that being said, I'm going to outro this like I've done in my previous podcast and just say, and that sips it up on this Tea Time with Nae podcast, episode 4, water your mind like you water your plants. If you would like to see what I have to offer in my self-care collection and my website, my link is down below, along with my Instagram and all the other social media information that you might need. Share your thoughts in the comments below of anything that you might be going through, any positive thoughts that you want other queens to see and want to be able to read. So you can go ahead and I will leave my pinned comment at the top of this comment section below that you guys can read as well for a life transitioning story that I'm going through and some words of encouragement that I would like to be able to express and share with you guys as well. So, if you enjoyed this episode of Tea Time with Nae, make sure you're subscribed and ready to receive notifications for next week, episode 5, Self-Love 24/7. And without further ado, educating ourselves one sip at a time. See you lovely ladies later.